Hey gang, I got an offer for you today from LinkedIn. As business-to-business marketers, your needs are unique. B2B buying cycles are long and your customers face incredibly complex decisions. Isn't it time you had a marketing platform built specifically for you? LinkedIn ads empower marketers with solutions for you and your customers. LinkedIn ads allow you to build the right relationships, drive results, and reach your customers in a respectful environment. On LinkedIn, you have direct access to build relationships with decision makers. Of the 875 million users on the network, 180 million are senior level executives. 10 million are C-level executives. You will also be able to drive results with targeting and measuring with their tools built specifically for B2B. And best of all, they work. Audiences exposed to brand messages on LinkedIn are 6 times more likely to convert. LinkedIn ads also rank number 1 for security, community, and ad experience as part of the Business Insider's Digital Trust Study. Make B2B marketing everything it can be and get a $100 credit. It's a $100 credit on your next campaign. Go to linkedin.com/MPN to claim your credit. It's linkedin.com/MPN. Terms and conditions apply.
I don't think anything was really scary back then. Funny enough, because there's a day when we started Sumo where I drove to a client site in the middle of a snowstorm because they owed us $100,000 and they only paid me 10. And I had 30 contractors, $100 in the bank, and like $5 in my pocket at that moment. And that wasn't the scary part. I am married and have a kid now, and that scares the hell out of me a lot.
Entrepreneurs Enigma is a podcast for the ups and downs of entrepreneurship. It's got the wins and the fails that we all face being entrepreneurs, and how we learn from adversity. Every week I talk to a different entrepreneur with a story to tell. I'm Seth Goldstein. Come with me on the journey. This is Entrepreneurs Enigma. Let's get started. Hello, everyone. I am very lucky today. I have Bart Mroz of Sumo Heavy Industries. Now, if you think about that, you might think they're an import-export company. They're not. They're a web software development company. Did I get that right?
Mostly e-commerce.
Mostly e-commerce. So, but they're the big dogs in the area. And I do like the name. I like their logo. There's a big sumo wrestler guy, and it fits. It's a good thing. So, Bart, welcome.
Hey, glad to be here.
Generally, I start the podcast off. I ask a little bit about your background. So, what's interesting about your background exactly? I guess it's interesting because you have a very Philadelphia accent.
I say Wuder. That's right.
You say Wuder, exactly. But you're not originally from Philly, are you?
I am not. I am originally born and raised in Poland. I've lived here for 30 years now. So I immigrated when I was 12. Right after the German Wall fell in 1989, and I immigrated in 91, 92.
You have to help Dodge as fast as possible.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of backstories and stuff like that to it. My parents actually immigrated in the 1980s here, and then eventually I came over. It was just a lot of background. There's just so much behind that
I'm sure things were complicated.
Don't really just a little bit.
Imagine that. Yeah, I mean, because Iron Curtain falls in 89. Just getting before the curtain, getting around the curtain was hard enough. It's a nightmare.
It's funny enough. I mean, when I was like about a year or 2 years before the curtain fell or the wall fell, you were able to go between the two pretty easily back then, relatively easily. So we used to go to West Germany a lot, back and forth. So it's definitely, you could see the signs of falling or going away, which is great.
Exactly. So you came over here in 91, 92. You immediately picked up the Philadelphia accent. For better or for worse, you started saying Wuder. And so, where did you go to college?
I went to Temple. I applied to about 3 colleges. This was the only place I wanted to go to. Multiple reasons. They had a program I liked, and 2, I needed to pay college pretty much myself. So no loans, no nothing, just work my butt off. And it's a state-funded school, so it was, sort of pricing-wise was good. So, but Temple in a Philly area is pretty good school. So
you got out of college. And did you immediately start on your entrepreneurial journey, or did you work for companies? How'd that go?
I started my entrepreneur journey in high school, man. Between slinging candy to fake Oakleys to just about anything, paper routes, grass cutting, snow shoveling. It's just always been the hustle in me. Just always did
Awesome.
it. College, did tons of things. Not only, I mean, I worked like 2-3 jobs just to pay for college, and then inside of the school for a while. So that's part of it. Grew it to the largest there was. Plenty of money in the bank, like fundraising, all kinds of stuff like that. And then always worked, always had internships in between school and summer stuff. And mine were like non-traditional. Everybody went into big firms. I went to tiny firms. I actually worked on, if you're around New York, Path, which is a little train because Jersey to New York. The screens.
It's sort of like Patco.
Yeah, just in New York. The screens that tell you time and where the train is, stuff like that. I worked on that for a very long time, which I have some crazy stories from those days. I graduated in 2001, took a job in Conshohocken. Remember where the Beehive used to be?
Yes.
So I was working inside there for a while, and I was doing technology consulting for credit unions and banks. We had a little smaller firm that just kind of worked for those kind of things. And then 9/11 happened. And then everything financial went belly up. Took me from right before Christmas to about February to find a job. Found a job in Cherry Hill, working for a travel agency and meeting planning place, which I have tons of stories for that one too. Lasted about 4.5 months, and then quit and started my first company, Bart Management, which was a consulting firm. And I was trying to do like desktop support for small businesses. One of my friends got me into Innovation Philadelphia, if you remember that world. And then 2 weeks later, they hired me. And I couldn't say no because the salary was great, benefits were awesome, and it just kind of worked out that way. So I worked there for exactly a year. That was my last full-time job.
And then that's when Sumo started, right?
No. I was still consulting, was doing that work. About that time, Indie Hall started going on. So
Indie Hall. Yeah.
Cream Cheese Session started, which was, we worked out of cafes, we worked out of bars, my apartment, and then we actually got a physical space. So I've been inside of Indie Hall since it started. And then it just kind of like went through that iteration, started another company after that. That kind of fizzled out. Met my current business partner through Will from Sear.
Oh, I love Will. Yeah.
And then we converted into Sumo, and Sumo's been around for 11 years now.
Wow.
Yep.
So that's a little history. You've done a lot. So I'd like to ask people, because everyone knows that entrepreneurship's a roller coaster. There's ups, there's downs. What has been the scariest thing for you in entrepreneurship?
I think now, I don't think anything was really scary back then. Funny enough, because there's a day when we started Sumo where I drove to a client site in the middle of a snowstorm because they owed us $100,000 and they only paid me 10.
Ooh.
And I had 30 contractors, $100 in the bank, and like $5 in my pocket at that moment. And that was the scary part. I am married and have a kid now, and that scares the hell out of me a lot, making sure everybody's taken care of. And then we have a bigger company and it's longer and stuff like that. So I think it's more scary now. Even though I have, a lot more experience, I think it's the experience that sometimes holds people back, where they're like scared of stuff. Because back then I was like, I had nothing to lose. You know what I mean? Like, I really had nothing to lose. I had no money in the bank, in debt. So that was a scary part, but somehow we came out of it just fine. And here we are.
As well. So what's the most fun thing about being an entrepreneur? I mean, that's the more fun question.
I'm gonna phrase it really weirdly. I think there's moments in time where I'm like, screw this, I'm gonna go take a full-time job. And then I look at some of the largest clients and how we work with them, and I'm like, I could never work at a place. So just having that adjustment where I can adjust whatever I want in the company. I have a business partner, so we work together on those kind of things, and then kind of keeps you grounded. But you can adjust to what you want to do. If one day you want to, be somewhere else or do another job or something like that, you can just do it. So that's the fun. I've always liked consulting businesses. We've built tons of products for clients, but for some odd reason, it keeps me in check of not trying to start other things because clients are interesting. You know what I mean? It's a weird sort of way of looking at it, and people, think that I'm crazy for liking client services. But I like it.
Hey, you like what you like, it pays the bills, and that's the key,
Yep.
And so COVID hits, and you guys were all in person at that time, right?
No,
Right,
only
okay.
out of 30 people, only 9 were in the office all the
That's not
time
bad.
because we're all based out of Philly. The rest of us like all over the place. And we moved around. We moved from, we started a company in Philly, moved to New York for a bit, come back to Philly. So we have people that work from home. We have people overseas, and we have clients all over the place. So COVID hit, it didn't really change much for us. Yeah, we were always a remote company. We kind of knew how to do that really well. Don't get me wrong, I miss people. I'm actually in my office right now recording this, and I miss having people around. But we've coped with it for a very long time. We kind of know how to do it. It sucks because I like hanging out with people, and I need that. But rest of the crew is just great about it. It's tough, but we know how to talk to each other, and we check in on each other all the time. So that's always a good thing.
So COVID hits, you guys are kind of ready to rock and roll still. You don't really skip a beat. And so last year, how's that been?
Well, last year was great. When it hit, I just came back from a conference. It hit. We were going, if we can do status quo for the year, it'd be good. We probably had the best year ever. Adjustment is a little bit, but other than that, I mean, we work with e-commerce brands, so all that has changed. I think this year's a little more tougher from a perspective of supply chain for our retailers, but for us, and I think what you look at is hiring good talent all over the world. It doesn't even matter if it's here or not. It's tough to get anybody anywhere. Because the problem is, in my opinion, is that all these companies that wanted to go digital transformation for like a plan for 10 years, all of a sudden had to do it in 6 months. So everybody's hiring everybody they can, which is tricky, right? Salaries are crazy, and it's kind of shortage everywhere.
Yeah. So but you're growing though, which is good to hear.
Yeah, I mean, growth is good. We're trying to figure out, kind of navigate the hiring against trying to like change our services a little bit to be helpful to clients a lot better, so that they can do work with what they have, without trying to go crazy of hiring people internally. And that's sort of where we shine right now, is helping clients to be more productive and process oriented so that they can do better with less people, because it's tricky, right? We've been always doing that. It's just, we're just more targeted now than anything else.
Absolutely. So Bart, where can people find you if they want to connect with you online? Like, what's the best place for them to find you?
SumoHeavy.com. Sumo Heavy on every single social media. Bart Mroz on just about everything. So you can find me there. I'm easy to find. And if you want to email me, it's bart@sumoheavy.com.
Bart@sumoheavy.com. Well, Bart, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your journey. It's been a heck of a journey, to say the least. It's been something, and it's still going. Thanks so much for being on the program, and we'll see you guys next week. That was a great show. Hey, if you're enjoying Entrepreneurs Enigma, please give us a review on the podcast directory of your choice. We're on all of them, and these reviews really help others find the show. Also, if you're getting value from the show and want to buy me a coffee, go to the show notes and click on the link to help me stay awake while I bring you more great episodes to your ears. That's in the show notes, and I look forward to the next episode. Take care, guys. Theme Media hopes you have enjoyed this episode.
You may know you're listening to this show along the Marketing Podcast Network, but did you know there are other great shows on MPN to help your business? Jamie Lieberman hosts a great podcast called the Unbusiness Podcast. Jamie, tell us what these fine folks will get when they listen.
The Unbusiness Podcast provides interviews with real-life entrepreneurs to talk about their struggles, their strategies, and how they have had success and what they've done in the face of failure. It is a real-life look at what it means to own your own business and gives you real takeaways on how you can make yours better.
Awesome. Where can people subscribe?
Go to #legal.com/podcasts. Find the show at marketingpodcasts.net or search for the Unbusiness Podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
You heard her. Go subscribe. This podcast is heard along the Marketing Podcast Network. For more great marketing podcasts, visit marketingpodcasts.net.